Chad Dukes here from WJFK and the interweb's premier website, the Fukerton.com. We're joined by one of my favorite actors that has been in some of my favorite movies of all time. Of course, you know him from Menace to Society, Predator, Commando, Red Dragon. He's an actor. He's a director. Bill Duke joins us on the show. Bill, what's going on, man?
Glad to be here, man.
Very
hanging in here like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Very excited to talk to you. The first question I got to get to before I bombard you with a bunch of stuff that may annoy you is, you were in such iconic action flicks like Commando and Predator, and your roles were very prominent, and oftentimes you're in scenes with big-name actors, and you end up stealing the entire scene. Do you ever get tired of people like bringing up those films and telling you that you love them, or is that something that you continue to enjoy?
Oh, I totally enjoy it. It's a privilege to have people appreciate your work. Believe me, after all these years, and I'm glad to still be working, and so, to have people, appreciate what you're doing, it's always a pleasure and an honor, actually.
Yeah. You've got an upcoming film called Not Easily Broken, which is due for release on January 9th, and you've got a film out now that you actually directed on Fox Home Video called Cover that people can pick up. I got to ask you, what's it like transitioning, because you've done a lot of directing, what's it like transitioning from being in front of the camera to behind it? Well,
actually, I'm directing Not Easily Broken, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, T.D. Jake's book. It's coming out, Sony Screen Gems, on the January the 9th. And I actually started out as a writer-director in theater, and then I came out in Los Angeles with my mentor, Lloyd Richards, and, did the same thing, but started acting also. And then, I was on a show called Palmerstown, USA, which was co-produced by Norman Lear and Alex Haley. The show went off the air after 2 seasons, and then I didn't work for a little while, so I decided I was kind of insecure about the camera and so on, so I decided to go to the American Film Institute. And then after I went to AFI, thank God I was able to work in the industry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're a big dude, and you have a great presence on the actual screen. I'm just curious, so you're saying that you were nervous about getting into acting. Why is that? Just because you thought that it was something that would be intimidating? Or I'm having difficulty understanding that, because you seem very natural when you're in front of the camera.
What I meant to say is that, in terms of nervous going from directing theater to directing film.
Oh, okay.
Because the equipment is totally different.
Right.
But hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
But what happened was I was able to, through AFI, really get an understanding of how to use the equipment, how to edit, how to light, all those skills. And so by the time I graduated, I came up with a short film, and that's really how I got into film directing.
We're talking with Bill Duke here on the Fukerton.com. You can check out his website, officialbillduke.com, to see everything that he's doing. Let me ask you something, Bill. The movie that I remember first seeing you in, and you've been doing it for quite some time now, is Commando, and I'm sure a lot of people remember that. And you have a scene in the middle of that movie where you tell Arnold Schwarzenegger that you're going to kick his ass, and then you guys engage in one of the greatest hand-to-hand combat action sequences I've ever seen. What was it like working with him up close and personal like that? You guys have worked together several times, but that fight was so great, and you're throwing each other through walls. What was that whole sequence like, and was it as cool making that as it is to watch it?
Well, it was fun making it. We had, of course, our stunt guys do the real hard stuff.
Right.
But Arnold's a great person to work with. He's professional, good people at heart. And so, he made it easy for everybody. He made sure that before he did anything, that it was well rehearsed with the stunt guys and the director. Everybody knew where the falls were going to take place. The special effects guys came in, all that stuff. And so you felt really comfortable because, when you're an actor, you're an actor. You're not a stunt person. So
right.
You have to do stunts where you're getting punched and you fall and you punch somebody else and all the rest of that. It's almost like choreography. So you have to have really good people in charge to understand how to choreograph, make you feel safe, make sure no one gets hurt. And that we had great people, so it was a lot of fun.
I got to ask you another question. Predator is my favorite movie of all time, and we've been doing this radio thing for a while, and I had a chance to talk with Jesse Ventura. I had a chance to talk with Sonny Landham about his feelings on the movies. The one scene I wanted to ask you about in particular is not Jesse Ventura. Carl Weathers is behind you, and you come back and you give him a warning in the jungle about that he's giving away your position. It's extremely intense, and you guys have great you're threatening him, but you're doing it kind of a covert way. And it was such a great gripping scene, and it really kind of steals the middle of the movie. I was just curious, when you're working with Carl, did you guys like rehearse that out, be like, okay, this is what's going to happen? What kind of direction did you get? Because in that one scene where I think he just steps on a twig or something and falls down, and you come back and threaten him, it's just something that's always been embedded in my brain out of a movie that's one of the greatest action movies of all time. What was that like?
Well, it was wonderful because, Carl's a wonderful actor. He's a director now also.
Yeah.
And some of the things we did, the line was kind of there, but, we were allowed to improvise on it just a little bit. And so the energy and the improvisation allowed us to be in the moment. It's like we were really talking about something that was really happening at that time. And so, you're working with a great director and with people who respect acting. And Carl is a wonderful actor. He throws something on it, he gives it back to you. And so it was a great spirited moment for both of us. And the thing that's great, most of us guys are still friends. Jesse I talked to a few years ago.
Wow.
I talked to Arnold a lot now. Carl and I are still friends. So it kind of bonded us in a way.
Don't get freaked out by this, but I'm not reading from anything. It's you're ghosting us, mother effer. I don't care who you are back in the world. You give up our position one more time, I'll bleed you real quiet and leave you here. You got that. And I remember that because I've seen the movie 100 times, but you're whispering and you convey such emotion just in that one little phrase that it really takes your breath away. And I hope I'm not, embellishing too much. But fast forward, you have the scene where you're going off by yourself and you're stalking the would-be creature. We talked that Jean-Claude Van Damme was on the set, and you're out in the middle of the jungle. What was it like filming that movie where you're having special effects that really we'd never seen before? You got this big cast, you got this big budget, and you're in the middle of nowhere. What was that whole experience like? Did you know that the film was going to be as big as it was going to be?
I don't think anybody knew. No one knew. It was like a new experience. Not a new genre, but it was one of the biggest films of its time. But I'll tell you the reality of things. Sonny Landon got bit by a scorpion and had to be rushed to the hospital.
Oh my God!
You'd be crawling on the floor of the jungle. A coral snake, the most poisonous snakes in the world, would crawl right in front of your nose. Just stop.
Oh.
People got bitten by spiders, and one of the most comic moments on the whole shoot was, when we first got there, the first 2 weeks, the caterer did the best he could, to put netting around the eating area because a lot of bugs. And so when we get our food, there'll be bugs in the soup and bugs in the food. And say, just step back. We're not eating it, right?
Yeah.
By the end of the second week, man, it was called protein.
Because you just got used to it, right?
Well, there was no more. That was all the food there was.
Oh my God!
So we just we had to eat.
Oh, do you feel like, though, you go back and you watch that flick and you got real actors and you guys are really out there in the jungle? Everything now is done in front of the green screen. You were in X-Men. You know about some of this stuff. You're in a lot of these movies that utilize a lot of CGI. Which do you prefer? Because to me, I look back at a movie like Predator or a movie like even The Thing, which is way scarier than any horror movie that you see now with a bunch of CGI. I just get a feeling like directors, not yourself, but some directors and some actors lean too heavily on CG when the real thing can never be replaced.
Well, John McTiernan, he's a wonderful director, and he gave us great instruction from an acting point of view. But he's a great storyteller with the camera, too. Not because of CGI, but because he knows how to use the camera to tell a story. Plus, the other thing, you need a great script. If you have a good script, it guides you through this entire and takes the audience with you because you are compelled by the script experience as an actor. And I think that, and I agree with you. There's something to be said about, the old school filmmaking of not. I don't misunderstand me. I love special effects when they're done well, etc. But there's something about just telling a story that's compelling that does not rely on everything visual. It's just a great story, good acting, whether it's a mystery, whether it's horror, no matter what it is, it's compelling, not because of what you're seeing on the screen, but the experience you're having. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.